Good morning. We are going to do a tie-dye Zentangle today, like the heart one, if you remember that. We're going to use this paper, Canson Mixed Media 7x10. It's just a classic, Old Faithful, holds watercolor and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to use that. Oh, look at my new mouse pad. Isn't that cute? We're going to use, so you might have seen this piece. I really like the colors in it, so I'm going to do the same color scheme. I know we've been inspired by this one before, and the inspiration is yet to run out, so let's run with it. So that was a lot of this palette, which I, again, don't know the name of, but they're Japanese watercolors, and there's lots of good brands who do them. And then I also want to use some orange, and I'm going to use probably one of those two. So that is the colors we're working with. What else do we need? We need paper towel, and then I'm going to use the Princeton No. 2 round brush as per. And we're going to start with triangles, and let me set this up a little better for myself. I like to have everything on the side that I am handed, which is the right. Makes things easier, and then this way you can see how we're loading the brush and all of that stuff, and we'll zoom in soon. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit now. Okie dokie. It is rainy here again today, which honestly I'm not mad about because it makes me feel cozy when I paint. So how we're going to start this one is do a bunch of triangles, I think, today, all over the page, each in a different color. So I'm gonna activate the paint here. And we've done triangle pieces before. I don't think I have any on YouTube, but I might have seen them elsewhere. And they're fun because often when we do Zentangles, the shapes that the negative spaces make are different than the original shape, and that's not the case with triangles. So like if we did circles, you often get little triangles within, and here almost always triangles are made, and so it's just a cool, oopsie, just cleaning up the edges here. A cool way to be, I guess. So what other colors do we have? That was this one. We're then gonna move on to the ultramarine, which is one of my favorite colors. And we're gonna try this at a different angle. I like them to be quite big for this type of pattern. I also love how triangles can't really be wrong because however you make them, they have the same angles, or they add up to 180 or something like that, don't quote me. Kind of remember that from school. I'm also hoping that because it's raining, there isn't going to be leaf blower action today. We'll see. I'm cleaning these up because I want them to be very crisp because there's going to be so much blendage happening in our watercolor that the crispness versus the blending will really balance each other out. So now let's do this turquoise, which is also such a nice shade. I love seeing two different shades of the same color sort of near each other. Like these are both blue, but then they're also so different, which is kind of cool. Okay, so what else? We want an orange, and then this on top was a pastel, but we have a similar color right here, and I'm gonna, oopsie, not me dirtying my paint. We're gonna do that. Did I miss any colors? I mean, it doesn't really matter if I did, but I just quite like what's going on here. I'm actually doing a commission that's very similar to this soon, and it's gonna be large scale, and I'm really excited. Let's do this here, kind of more classic orientation. I realized in my last video my hand was in the way, so I'm going to try and improve that this time once we get into it. Okay, and then finally our nice little minty shade, which I'm kind of going to play along the edge of the paper just for a bit of variety. And triangles are cool because the first, whoa, that was a lot going on, wasn't it? Hold on. I know exactly where to end my next line because of this line, if that makes sense. So I just feel like triangles really take out the thinking. Like if I'm doing a cloud or something, which I just did, I need to make sure it still looks like a cloud for the most part. Okay, so here we have our colors. How did I fill in the last one? I think I filled each one in. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So let's get closer and do those. I can do these two first. My stand is kind of broken if you haven't already heard me say that 500 times. So, oh, never mind. If I am to do this, I'm gonna lean on here, and that is still wet. So we're gonna move this around. Here is great because I can rest my hand on this edge and not smudge any paint. So see how my brush, is this focused? Yikes. See how my brush is kind of flattened at the end? We're gonna put that tip in the corner and give us the best kind of angle where the two lines can meet. So I'm now tracing the inlines, and we're not doing an exact triangle inside, we're doing an echo of what the line we did before is. So you'll see it kind of divots there, which we echoed, and then this bends a little ever so slightly as well. So I'm gonna make that clear with the very tip of my brush. Okay. And then this brush is actually kind of on the used side. I just bought a new one. Not that, that's my number one, which I've used a couple times. And I don't know, for some reason this one feels more familiar and I'm better with it. So I'm gonna just keep using it until I really can't anymore. And it's not because the new brush is a different formula or anything. It's just, this is spread out over time and I've got so accustomed to how exactly it's spread out that suddenly when it's new, it's kind of like a different tool. So you'll see that as we go inwards, the lines are going to be more concentrated in blue and darker, and that's because the pigment doesn't have as much space to run out, like here, for example. So that's why that's happening. It's just kind of a cool part of the story of this piece, and it indicates what was painted first, and just fun to notice. But here, I didn't need to redip, so it might run out a little more. Not so much. There's really a lot of pigment on this brush. cheap brushes, the difference between them and nicer brushes is that they don't hold pigment as well because they're plastic and it just doesn't suck in it's not the right terminology, I'm aware, the water and the pigments, and then also the bristles can come out easier, which is just annoying to deal with. So that's the difference if you're wondering. Okay, so now we can move on to this nice maroon triangle. Yeah, okay. I kind of do a hovering practice line sometimes just to make sure I'm getting a good angle. Because the more stability I have in that angle, the straighter the line will be. And I'm not going all the way to the corners because, at least here, because with this thickness, if I went up higher, it would crash into the other line. So we're gonna make up for it when we have a better angle, which in this case is on the side. Oh, I didn't share my intention for this piece, and it's my usual intention, I'd say, just to chill out. I had kind of an overthinky day yesterday, and I don't want a repeat of that. Not that it was terrible, but I don't know how much more one can overthink. I mean, the limit doesn't exist, but I kind of want to clear the air in my brain, I guess. So I'm just going to do this nice little video. I have acupuncture later today for my headaches, and then I need to go to the grocery shop. And then a big day of all kinds of work to do. I have some proposals to send out, quite a big one actually that I'm nervous for. And then working on some videos. And then my manager sent me over a few things I need to read yesterday that I haven't yet. Okay. There's those. How is dryness looking? That's still a touch wet. I think what we'll be able to do is get the best angle for this guy right here. I can put my hand on these spirals, which actually is not ideal because then I'm not still, I'm kind of on a curve, but given everything and me not wanting to pause the video because I want to be in the zone, and if I pause, I'll go do something else, blah, blah. This is our best bet. Doesn't have to be perfect to be the right thing for the time. Okay, also I want to get a good angle. So as usual, well, not as usual, because sometimes I work in my Lomley Paris book that is not up for grabs, but because this piece isn't in there, it's going to be up on my Finders Keepers on my website, which is where I have available little bits I've been working on in the studio, all for under $100. If you want a piece of art that it's just a cute little one. They're all up there. And they're all one-of-ones. And maybe you watch the process of how it was made. Cute. I love the variation in this color specifically, like this tone compared to here. It's just pretty. I think we'll do orange first. Here we have a great rest point. And this one I can maybe put in here so you can see that. Sorry, I know I said I would, but it's all a balance of angles and yada, 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 yada. I like to think of the lines as little rivers, and sometimes they carry stuff down them, like that little speck of something. You know what's crazy is I haven't had coffee today. I'm gonna have a cup of tea after this. So when it gets to these little bits, I like to draw out the shape as opposed to using the side of my brush as I have been, just so it matches the rest consistently. Lovely. And then we have our final right angle rectangle, square. And then we'll start the tie-dye element, which is gonna be really fun. Oh, I have a little something in my brush. It's important to get that out because it can kill the vibe. So I'm gonna do this top one first, so I'm not dragging my hand potentially through that line here. Just gives us the cleanest results. This color is so, and now that it's smaller, that doesn't matter as much, so I'm gonna go down here. This color makes me feel whimsical. Nice little bend going on, just kind of cute. So we're just letting the painting take us wherever it's supposed to go. There isn't really a predetermined outcome, which is why it's able to be so peaceful, I think. Okay, so here is how the tie-dye element is gonna work. We are going to get the camera set up. And then we're gonna go along here with this green. Do we wanna do that or do I wanna go down? I think I'm gonna actually go along the side like this. And once we hit another color, we're gonna change to that color. So the first, wait, that's not gonna work though, because what if we went sideways? Sorry, I hadn't decided what to do yet, but I guess you can decide with me. Okay, so this line would go up here, hit that, go round. These would hit. Okay, I think that's gonna make the most sense. Let's do it. So what am I on about? I'll show you. I'm actually gonna do something crazy. I laugh because it's really not that crazy what I got going on, but we're gonna do yellow, just have a different color because this area technically isn't really close to anything. And then you'll see the transition once we hit into the green. This is wet, but it's all wet. So I'm just gonna hold my little sleeve and pray. So now that I feel like yellow always makes stuff pop nicely. Now that we're in close proximity to this minty green, I'm gonna clean out the brush completely, load it up with some green, and continue my line. And do you see how it's made a bit of a fruit roll up tie-dye effect? And then we're gonna follow on the Zentangle as normal. And now again, I guess that area is just gonna be blank actually. Now that we are away from the minty green again, completely clean out the brush, load up with the yellow, and be on our way. Now look how the yellow is carrying some of the green with it. That's really cool. It's run out though, so I'm re-upping, removing the cat hair, and keeping going. Cool. So sometimes we do like top to bottom, sometimes we do side to side, sometimes we do outside the shapes. This is, I guess, a corner. I could go all the way around like that, but I think it's gonna constrain the piece more than I'd like, so we're not going to do that. But I did just do a piece like that of clouds where I used the edge as a line too. And I think, I don't know what day it is, but I think I'm posting it soon. Okay, again, hold the sleeve. Also, can you even see when I do this? Why don't we go like this? Hold the sleeve. A little further up because it's further away. Load up. Oh, the cat is here. Load up while it's still wet. So, oops. Well, I'm gonna actually add a little water in here because I paused more than I might have usually. Just so, now it's longer, but oh well, kind of cool. Then we'll continue this line. So I guess our general rule is whenever it's within this much of the piece, I'll change to that color. So a little more mint. Clean out the brush entirely and get our next color. So the yellow in this case is kind of like the neutral or the background till it runs out, and then boom. So the next yellow, it's definitely going to hit this red, so that's going to be exciting to have a look at. And then I'm wondering, you know, one day I can hire someone to stand above this and tell me if you can see my hand or not. But then someone would be in my zone. I have to think about that actually. My dream situation is I could train Parmesan to tell me, but I don't see that happening. Okay, so hopefully this is gonna look cool. We're gonna do a little more green. And suddenly we are near this guy. Clean out the brush entirely, re-up on, oop, that was wiggly. Some red, which was a little tight, so it has touched, which we call kissing around here if you're new. And continue that out. And it's really pretty to see how it's spread out that way. Love it. Okay. Back down here, clean brush, yellow. Clean brush, mint. The yellow kind of dries up to that point, so maybe that's just how it goes. I'm gonna leave that one and see how they all look in contrast toward the end. Clean brush, yellow. Oh, we're at turquoise. Clean brush. Turquoise. That really gives fruit roll up, doesn't it? Clean brush, yellow. Clean brush. If you're wondering about my water, yeah, it's very brown. And then, uh-oh, what happens here? Well, we just go around the shape. So the line takes us wherever we're meant to go. And the shapes are just kind of indicators or like little obstacles that give us a place for the line to go so that it's not just a straight line every time, really is what their purpose is. Oh, that was heavy Ryan jumping off the table if you heard that thud. And interesting, the red has totally spread. That rhymes. And because of that, do I want to then do red next to it? That's a great question. I haven't really come across this before. Whoa, look at that fruit roll up. We're gonna call this one the fruit roll up tie-dye tangle. I think we are gonna make it red now. So that will be like so. Which means this area is for sure gonna be all red. Something can go there though, so we'll leave that for now. Okay, back here. Clean brush, yellow. I'm gonna make a lot of water on this one. So that hopefully the mint has a little more to dance around in. Boop. So honestly, we don't really even need the yellow anymore because the mint is going to carry on and it's actually going to get picked up by the turquoise. Cool. Which we then go around the triangle with. I'm not going to go this way because that's not very comfortable for my arm. So as long as we know where we're going, the direction does not matter. Lovely. I'm excited to see the blue and the maroon touch. Whoop. When that happens, we just go from there, I guess. Wow, that was one of the first times the brush has ever really made noise on the paper. Okay. So, carry on our turquoise until about here because the red has bled. And there we go. Now I'm stopping there because that's actually kind of close to the turquoise. So I might just pick it up there. It could be either, but because the turquoise is exciting to me, that's what we're picking. And the best part of these drawings or paintings, this one's a painting, I guess, is there aren't rules, so you can make it however you're feeling. And you can use my way as inspo. You can copy it exactly. With these, I don't really mind that. Totally up to you. Let's fill in this negative space. For the Valentine one I did, if you didn't see it, it was hearts. And each heart was a different purple, pink, or red. And I used this red for sure. So it was nice. What we could do actually is now that it's far away, oh, that's what we're gonna do. A yellow, haha. Gonna get in the corner. Clean off the brush completely. Pick up the yellow. Whoa, fun. This space is a little too tiny for two separate lines, so I'm going to take the very tip of the brush and just draw out one side, and then take the tip of the brush, clean yellow, and draw out the other side, and yeah, they blend it together. I'm actually going to take the brush clean and stretch this point up, and because it's wet, it's all gonna bleed into there. Okay. Do we want to do this negative space too? I think so. So this left side is for sure turquoise. Oh, I need to turn the page so I have free wrist. And then we're gonna do the little edges, which will turn into the maroon. Again, because it's a smaller space, we don't need to re-up as much, which means lots of bleeding. So same thing again. And the more water you add to these lines, the more bleed there will be. So that is something you can somewhat control as far as control in this type of piece goes. And then I'm actually just gonna re-up my brush, like entirely wash it off, just for variety. Look at this nice purple we've made. It's quite a warm purple, but purple nonetheless. Oops, stretched that a bit far. We're just gonna go with it, okay. And because of that, the blue is, or the turquoise is really just a small area. So I'm just gonna do the corner, kind of. And then take my maroon to continue the shape. Cool. Okay. Next, we are going to hit the orange soon. Woohoo! Pretty soon, actually, like right now. So I'm just gonna what was that? Just gonna do a tiniest bit of yellow and then carry on the rest with our orange. And for wetness reasons, we'll be doing this. Oh, but also green. Okay, hold on. Let's think about this. So orange, and then I think actually I will continue the orange. Orange and green mixed together it's kind of brown, so let's see how that goes. I'm gonna finish this line, clean it off entirely, get a little, oh wait, we don't need to go up yet. My bad, so boop. The orange is chasing us. It's giving little sister vibes. And then we're gonna point that area out with the turquoise. So when you're doing this, if you're choosing your own colors, make sure you think about what colors will look nice when blended together. And nice, obviously, is subjective. Cool that the turquoise, the minty can kind of turn a corner there. I'm really excited to see the two blues intermingle. Crisp that out. Triangle corners always go further than I anticipate, even when I anticipate that I'm not anticipating it right. Wow, cool. And then this one can just go like that. Okay. It's really rainbowy over here. So now we don't have this area to go. So the next blank space in the bottom left corner is actually right here, which is definitely an orange section. And what I'm gonna do is this line first. And then because this one is a trickier angle compared, that second. And this is all gonna be funky over here. See how that brown is being made? Nothing's wrong with brown, but fruit roll-ups don't have brown. this is kind of looking orangey to me, so I am actually going to use orange as opposed to turquoise, and I'm constantly turning the page like this because of that whole best angle / wetness thing. So this is going to be interesting because it's actually just going to be one line. We're going to go as far as we can. I'm going to use the point for that. Because the whole full line isn't going to fit in this little space. And then, where does it go? It comes back down like that, which obviously it's turquoise. I just loaded up my brush with orange, but that's okay. I'm gonna clean it out. And then this is going to come up and meet it. Very exciting. Move on to our turquoise. This line is getting bigger and bigger, so I definitely need to re-up. Oh, we have a nice little kind of divot going on here, which touches the blue. So I definitely want to play into that. So I'm going to clean, get the blue in the corner, and then somehow the red has come this way, so that's what we'll pick up. And adding more water has pushed this paint that way, so that's going to grow over there, which is cool. And then our classic red line. So where we put the squares and how big they are going to, squares, am I okay? Triangles are going to determine how much of each color takes up the page. So you'll notice now we're done with the mint. That's not touching anywhere, so probably won't see her again. Might see the yellow around here and here, but TBD. For now, we're going to go back to our orange. It's citrus season, did you know? And then this way for angle. Now we've blocked ourselves off here with this triangle. Well, that actually sounds negative. The road leads south now. So we're gonna pick up this nice ultramarine, one of my favorites, and go along down this new triangle, carving that corner up. And then obviously we have hit the maroon, so that's what's going to take on the rest of this line and run down, and then we're back to our blue. And then we've kind of cornered ourselves in here, but there is a solution for that, which is, okay, I'm gonna do a tiny little blue lift right here, got this corner crisp, and then we're gonna go back to maroon, pick it up, and then, oops, kissing. Because this is the same line, it's all good that it touches itself, reconnects, and then comes out this side. And then we've created a little negative space here, which we're gonna do, oh, that's looking really cool, look at that. We're gonna do the same kind of thing we did up there. And do this side in blue. It's gonna bleed, I know it looks off now. This side, and here. So if you're making this and you don't know which way to go, there isn't a right way. Just go whatever feels right, because no one's gonna look at it at the end and be like, oh, they should have turned this corner there. And if someone does say that, they should get a life, really. Or try their own painting. Might make them less angry if they find some zen. Oh, this angle's kind of tricky. We're gonna go like this, down one side with orange, as far as we can go, which I guess is around here. Kind of wanna, oh, I really love that right there. It looks so minerally. And then we're going to pick up with our turquoise until we get to ultramarine. And boom. Now we've kind of got some red going on. I'm going to take it up a touch more so it has some wetness, and then clean off the brush. Continue with maroon, which makes a little purple. Also notice we've gone from the same direction every time, so there's kind of that element of the direction in the lines of the piece. Starting with orange again. Once the negative space is much less than the amount of actual paint on the page, things start to really disappear pretty quickly. And then here we're going to draw into this triangle. And you guessed it, pick up with turquoise. For some reason, the way the orange interacts with the other colors is so cool. Do you see that? I'll show you better at the end. So now we're really in a groove of knowing what colors are next, I would say. And with this line, we've divided it into two final areas. And so we can finish the one that we're working on right now, and then we will move on to the other one. So with these, it's best, I would say, not to go over the tie-dyed lines too much, because every time you put the brush down, the brush has water and pigment. It's going to change the natural way the paints would blend. Something is in my brush. So I think we can introduce a little yellow here, just for fun. So I'm gonna do that at the bottom of this. Water is really looking murky. Whoa, that looks like fire. So cool. I'm gonna try and show you. Wait for it. Whoa. And then more yellow here. Super watery because it's a small area, which means lots of blendability. Blue. Maroon. So now, just to do less back and forth, I'm gonna do this side's yellow and this side's yellow. And then, oops, add our blue up to here. Got a little green going on in there, which is really pretty. And then, why is there always something on my brush? And then connect. And I actually want to do mostly yellow for the last one. But we'll do a little dot of each color to do the point. Fun. I like this part. We'll see how that dries, because it always dries a touch different. Okay, and now we have this final area. Starting with orange. So that is because there was a fingerprint oil there. We should do a piece with white wax crayon or pencil or something sometime soon, because you can kind of manufacture those marks and it can be fun to do. So remind me to do that. We have a kiss over here, just gonna get swallowed up. Oh, another one. It's often on the side of the page because that's where my finger goes to flip through. Oh shoot. Okay. Then okay, so this is gonna take a second to dry, so I'm gonna post a picture of this on my Instagram story once it's dried. So follow me there if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe. Here is our final